So let's see what we have here. We have a data wick created, data wick high, data wick low. MNQ has tagged that level. It also tagged a 1 hour BPR, while ES is actually not even close to those levels. It's creating an SMT as well. And now, because as far as I can see, there are not really clear gaps. There is just 30-second gap here, which I use as orientation, but I'm not going to take it until there is a change in the state, which can be any time. So I will put in my Fibby level, and I don't want to see a close below, to be honest. And I think we can target data high, which is good for a 3R, but I think this is already a 1R, and I think we can easily hit this target, so that's a 2R. If we're able to get there. I can also trade ES, because clearly it's the stronger of the two. But so far I'm not yet convinced. We are already above this level, because I marked the similar level for the change in the state, and this small gap is corresponding with already price action that occurred here. Let's ignore this gap because it's not relevant. Okay, so we got the close. I'm now actually sleeping behind the bed. Let's just create a limit order, 150, which is, I think, good enough. So let's see how this works. This is quite a wide stop. And let's see if we can actually get this target. So now we're going to let price do its thing and see if that works out. I'm also just thinking, okay, what's against having this position? Because it's moving against me quite quickly. We also had a close above the change in the state, albeit a very tiny close. Now ES is also dropping significantly. I would prefer to see the SMT still intact, because you otherwise would expect data lows to get ran for this level. Okay, pooh, that was quick. So this actually shows that whatever the volatility is crazy. So that did not cost me 150, but it cost me 170. Okay, so that's a quick trade. It's a live trade, but very quick. Not sure exactly what happened there, if it was news driven or not, but apparently now, to me, this suggests that I think ES is going for data low, and after data low maybe is taken for ES, then we can move up again. We still have London low and Asia low here, so let's see if something happens over there. But to be honest, everything was there. There was a higher time frame SMT, there was a lower time frame SMT, there was a data low being tagged, there was not a gap, but there was a change in the state. The change in the state was just barely closed above, but technically closed above on the 1 minute and on the 2 minute. So yeah, that's what it is. It's just unfortunate, but according to the system, to the model. On to the next. Okay, now half an hour has passed, and I can already do a review on the trade. So I went long here. I got stopped out in this wick below. It still held that SMT. The overall high time frame setup is still valid, so price went chopping. Let's just take the 1 minute. Price went chopping, made a close above, retested the original change in the state, which would now be here if I would be technically really strict. broke above, retest, and then walked away. Now the problem is, do you still target this level or you go data high? While, and that's the alternative what I was looking at. Okay, so NQ did take the low, ES did not take data low. However, ES was clearly the strongest of the two pairs. It did cause a violent move down. It did not close below, so that's a beautiful SMT. And while moving down, it created a fair value gap. So when I mark out this fair value gap, there was a 1 minute. This was the 2 minutes, but there was also a 1 minute. So depending on what you trade, you can also take the 1 minute. That would start here and then all the way down here, but it always then concerns how did it break above. No break, no break, yes a break, and a retest, because I do trade the retest. This would have offered a really good setup, and you're already also trading the strongest pair of the two. So I was looking and I was thinking, okay, so even though NQ hit its target, or at least let's say it created a proper setup with tagging the data low, the H1 BPR, ES is the strongest pair. And of course, data wick is a magnet for price, especially taking into account this is now again the new all-time high. Markets are on a tear, so why would it not be the most sensible pair to trade, even though it did not take the time wick, the data wick. So if I would trade this, whether it is the M2 or the M1, you trade the retest, stop below, maybe below this wick, depending on your risk level, and then you target, your first target would be here, 1.7. You could squeeze your, there's no gaps here, so effectively it should run. You could target this high as your initial target, but then ultimately you would expect price to hit data high. And that's just a matter of waiting. That's a 3.2 R. You would already be at a 2.4, which for me would be okay. So if I would trade this, I would be out mostly at a 2R and just leave a runner for the data wick, maybe trailing my stop. I think if I would look at it honestly, I would trail my stop to here. I would have been stopped out here, and then that would be the trade for me. NQ is clearly lagging. Is it the weaker of the two? Apparently, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's just delaying its move up, and once ES decides, okay, yes, let's go to data high, NQ does the same, because let's not forget, all-time high is the red line, so just over data high is all-time high. So that's the this is clearly drawn liquidity, and I don't know if there is any news that would be concerning on a macro level weakness type of thing. Then we would drop from here, but to be honest, I don't think that's the case, because geopolitically it's been a mess and markets have only been rallying upwards. So yeah, so that's the review on this one. So I assume price will take data high, and otherwise I will get stopped out and it's a good trade anyways. So that's something to take into account for the next trade, that if you want to trade long, why would I trade the weaker pair of the two? That's the question.